do you think someone can like choose to like act mature and
If you are in a family that gives you everything you want and you aren't, for example, struggling to get it, you might say, do I really need to do anything to get money? Do I really?
He like San have mentioned something. I have like a small question. Is there any like
What's the story? What's the story?
hello, welcome. This is What's the Story podcast, your weekly show where we talk about life, faith, and culture. And today I am with my co-host, my one and only Cedric. And we also have a very beautiful, well, not beautiful, handsome guest, I'd say. And his name is Shawn. He'll introduce himself in a little bit. And today we're going to be talking about signs of maturity, and he's going to be sharing his wisdom. He'll introduce himself and tell us about everything we need to know about him. But before that, I want to have Cedric say hi.
hello? I hope you're doing good. If how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Shawn, you're with us today. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good as well. Hello, Cedric.
Yeah, hello Sean. Welcome to What's the Story podcast.
Thank you.
So today we're going to be talking about signs of maturity. Shawn, you're the mature person in the room. How do you feel?
Come on. I'm not the only one here. That's for sure. But I'm I'd say I'm a little excited to talk about this subject because it was one of my topics that I did in high school as a sort of year-end defense or something like that. So I'm a little bit excited about it actually.
Oh, great. That's nice. So, yeah, what is maturity in your opinion?
Um, Maturity, it is when you can, as a person, have an introspective, thinking of yourself, and you see yourself as somebody who can stand before anybody without cowering, without necessarily having to say, "Ooh, I'm scared of that person. I'm scared of this. I'm scared to do that." No, you are always not fearful to do things. You stand by your choice and you defend your choice. For me, that's maturity, basically.
And do you think everyone who has big number of years are mature? Or, like, do you think it's about the age of someone?
Not at all. Not at all. Because I've seen plenty of people who, especially, and they are in the older ages, like 50 and above, make some pretty, say, non-committed decisions that later came back to bite them where it wasn't really needed. So, but then again, you look at that 15-year-old who's maintaining his house, who's maintaining his family, caring for whatever else situation is going on, and you're like, is this really about age? I don't think so.
Okay, Sana, can you share with us like personal experience where you realized that maturity is not linked with age?
Sure. So I'm gonna give you two situations, and then you can see. Uh, when I was 13, I remember fully. I was in second year of secondary school. My mom gave me a check. I had my passport, and she told me, "You go to the bank, retrieve this check, get the money, go pay your school fees, and come back." Now, for a 13-year-old having a little over 1 million Rwandan francs, that was when in 2011 and 12, somewhere there. that was a lot of money. So if I had not matured or not have any emotional intelligence to think through things, I would have probably taken some of the money and went to buy myself something to eat nice and then say they stole the money, And then again, I was like, do I really need to do this? I don't think so. And then there's I won't say the name, but it's a relative of mine. When their brother died, they immediately went to harass the children to get any money or estate anywhere within the country because that person was rich. Is that really maturity? How are you going to claim somebody's estate or wealth over their own next of kin? Like, that's not maturity at all. No?
Yeah. Thank you. Like that was like somewhat sad, but very, very personal. So like another question, like the way you've said it, it looks like maturity like goes with the decisions we make. So like, can maturity be seen in like how someone makes decisions or choices? If so, like how?
In one of the signs of maturity is how you handle responsibility. Basically, you take accountability for your own actions while fulfilling your obligations or any other task you are given without being prompted to do so. No, that is a very telltale sign of maturity. Then again, there's also what we call emotional intelligence and environment you grew up in. When you grow into an environment that teaches you the importance of handling your task, of being responsible, the sort of decisions you take to build your life, to create a life that you want ahead, it is something that is a simple yet basic sign of maturity that people tend to miss. So, if you grew up in a house that was included in what we call drugs, violence, and anything not, let's say, satisfactory to the general public, you would be inclined, because that's what you grew up in, you would be inclined to do those same things because that's what you grew up doing, and there's nothing else you'll know unless you say on your own self. Now this is where you take in your own self-awareness. You recognize your strength and then your weakness, and then you strive to grow yourself. This is where now self-awareness comes in also. Like, you might have been in that kind of bad environment that does not benefit you in any sort of way, but then you take aside a decision to say, I need to get out of this thing because it's very much hurting myself, it's very much hurting my future, and I don't want to see myself struggle anymore. So pretty much saying it's not about only responsibility or decisions you take. There is a little bit also of how you grew up, where you grew up, the influence you had. And then when you combine all of that, if you don't take a decision for yourself, then there's no maturity in there. You are still a little bit developing somewhere.
Yeah, thank you very much. That was a good response. Yves, do you have more questions for Sam?
This whole time I've been speaking, but my microphone was muted. Anyways, yeah, I have like a lot of questions. So Shawn, you talked a little bit about like influence and that it's not only about responsibility, but the way you grew up also influences the way you respond and react to situations. So do you think like life experiences play a bigger role in developing maturity than age? So what I mean is when some people have gone through like really, really bad stuff in their life, do you think that can make them mature, or do you think that adds up to their level of maturity in any way? Because yeah, life experiences can influence the way someone's brain is wired. What do you think in that context?
Experience is the best teacher you can have in this life. That's a saying. I don't know who said it, but I know that thing has been with me ever since growing up, and I've been drilled that into my head fully from any person whom I've been around, especially my parents, my aunties, and anybody who was well endowed enough to know what's ahead and to prepare ahead, Experience provides you two things that are also signs of maturity. There is adaptability, meaning you are able to be flexible in any situation, whether it is a challenge that you hadn't anticipated, you can adapt to it and be able to overcome it because even though you have experience, but you are also learning at the same time, because every time, every day, every hour, you are always learning something new. That is something I go by also. And experience as well brings you another thing, problem-solving skills. Now, there's something I've seen that many people struggle to use, which is logic and creativity. One doesn't remove the other one. Experience teaches you to be methodic, to be able to deal with anything that comes on your side, whether it is logically, meaning using your past experiences to do it as it should be done, or as it should be resolved, or creatively. Now, why did I say logic and creativity doesn't exclude one another? Is because you can combine them. For example, you are a driver of a big lorry and you are searching for jobs. In your experience, you know that company A provides you the biggest loads for the best money around, but it takes time for you to give that load and to be unloaded. Yet, company B will give you a smaller load for a medium to small income, but they will unload you faster and be able to turn you around faster. Now, from your experience, you would say, I need money, so logically, I'm gonna go with company A. But then again, if that thing you need money for is time bound, you won't be able to resolve it because company A will not be able to turn you around quickly as you want it, and then you will go with company B, but then again, the money won't be able to cut it out. So your logic will tell you, if it is time bound, I'll go with company B. If it isn't with time boundness, then I'll go with company A. However, creativity might tell you, why not combine the two? I get half a load from company B and company A, get turned around faster from company B, head to company A. By the time they unload me, I'll be able to resolve my issue because my time has been used well, So experience is the best teacher, basically. It will shape you in terms of growing your maturity, but also in terms of giving you that adaptability that you need.
Yeah, I think that's really good. And do you think people can intentionally grow mature, or do you think it's something that just like happens and someone is like, I don't know, naturally born that way? Like, do you think it's like a natural disposition, or do you think someone can like choose to like act mature and, you know, develop in that way? What do you think?
So, in this case, there are two things to look at. There are people who grow up in an area, or their family background allows them to exercise all of their what skills early, and they also give them values and ethics that shape who they are. Now, from that example, you will see that values and ethics that were given to them will help them shape their maturity and their way of showing that maturity and carrying themselves within the society, you know. But there is also intentional let me say deafening of your maturity based on what you want. If you are in a family that gives you everything you want and you aren't, for example, struggling to get it, you might say, do I really need to do anything to get money? Do I really need to work? Do I really need to solve any problems? No, some people will do it for me. Yeah. I don't really need to be sympathetic. If I have money, I'll just share money around, and that's all. But if there isn't that aspect now of family background, there's some people who are born mature and some people who build their maturity over a period of time. In philosophy, of course, I'm not a licensed philosopher nor a psychologist, but in philosophy, they tell you there's two sides of that coin. Some people are predestined to be mature by birth. Why? Because the way they are growing up and the way they carry themselves, the way they surround themselves with people, defines who they are, because they know what they want and they will stand by what they want and what they say. And then there's those that build maturity over time, experience, and want. Meaning, you can want to be mature, but you don't have the time. No, you don't have the experience to be mature, you know? So sometimes it will take you 30 years to be fully mature and to express it, or it may even take you 10 years. So that's what I would say about it. It isn't something that is set in stone, like you are born to be mature fully. No, you are not. The values and ethics you put yourself into are what defined the maturity by age or by time, basically.
That's really good. Cedric, do you have something to say?
Yeah, I think San have mentioned something. I have a small question. Is there any habits or practices that can encourage maturity? Because there are some people who doesn't have that experience during their childhood, or like they had a good family background where they could get anything they wanted, but like for now they want to learn how to be mature. So is there any like habits or practices that can encourage maturity?
There are a lot of things that you can do. Normally, I recommend somebody to do what most they love, whether it is food critic, eating, reading a book, going on a run. But there are some specific things that will grow your maturity. First of all, and most importantly, always do a self-evaluation as frequent as possible. Meaning, if you are at the end of the day, like before you're going to sleep, if you have a journal or if you don't need it, take time to recount through the day that you've just spent through or the week, go through it, look at what you've done. Have you accomplished some of the goals you had set for yourself? I'll come to that later on, but we start with self-evaluation, of course. You evaluate yourself, like out of 10, what marks can I give myself in terms of accomplishing what I had set myself to do or the goal that I have for my future? Like, if I had said, I want to be a doctor in 10 years, in the middle point, 5 years, evaluate yourself. Where am I? What am I doing? Do I need to do anything more? Do I need to do anything less? Do I need to change my social network? Or do I need to be more empathetic? Some words are very difficult. Empathetic towards others. Yeah. So it's all about self-evaluation. Then self-evaluation goes hand in hand with setting realistic goals, not idealistic, realistic goals. What do I mean, and what's the difference between the two? Realistic goals is when you look at your capabilities, you look at what you are doing. For example, you are doing a bachelor, for example, in business management, and you say, in 2 years, I need to have finished my bachelor's because maybe you had started like 2 years ago. I need to have my degree. I need to have at least started working somewhere. No matter the money that comes. Because if you are living alone or with your parents, you need some sort of income to even start thinking about budgeting. That's a whole another area. Okay. Now, idealistic are made of dreams. Idealistic goals are just made of dreams. Like, dream of being an astronaut one day. Those are type of goals that we set ourselves to do when we were youngsters, like 7, 6, 5, If you keep those type of goals or ideas, then it will be difficult for you to properly achieve anything, especially in regards to maturity,
Yeah. And do you think people who take responsibility of their actions are mature? And how does that affect relationships, whether personal or professional, like in the work environment? Do you think people who take responsibility for their actions are mature?
Of course. Responsibility, as I said before, is one of the major signs of maturity. Like being accountable to yourself and to others about what you said, what you did, or what you're planning to do is something that most people struggle to do. Meaning, if you are somebody, you gave an idea, it didn't work out, or you lost a lot of money, be accountable to yourself. Look at why it failed, that's accountability, and then try to find solutions for it to never repeat again. Now, accountability to others, it is when you go to apologize or give proper detailed timesheet or timestamps or logs of what happened. and saying, I know I've done